I had one of the most exhilarating conversations with a community attender recently. Now, this was a guy, he's done pretty well in business, but it's been the last few years he found his way back to God. He shows up every week and he says, every week I find myself getting emotional. And I'm really not an emotional guy. He loves the community. He's in a small group doing life together. He's finding out he loves being generous. He's giving away more and more of what God's given him. And he's super passionate about the mission. In fact, so passionate, he's strategized about how he can spend more and more time on the mission and less time at work. Now, throughout our conversation, he kept using this phrase over and over again. He kept saying, I'm all in. Dave, I'm all in. He talked about his relationship with Jesus, and he said, I'm all in. We talked about the mission and wanting to spend more and more time on it. He just said, I just want to be all in. We talked about generosity and some of the initiatives we have coming up. He said, I'm all in. Finally, I got to the point where I had to stop him, and I said, did you know our theme for this next ministry year is all in? And he was like, I had no idea. But that's just how I feel. I'm all in. Well, if there was one phrase that I would like to describe this next ministry year, it's this phrase, all in. And here's why. I think God's looking for people who are all in. All in. Look what 2 Chronicles 16:9 says. It says, the eyes of the Lord search the whole earth in order to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to Him. Now, this scripture tells us something amazing about God, that He's always looking for people to strengthen. Another translation says, mightily support. And the people He chooses to strengthen are the ones who are completely committed to Him. He's looking for people like that. He's looking for people who are all in. Now, as we look ahead to this next ministry year, it is going to be a year of exceptional opportunity. We're going to reach record numbers of people. We'll bring restoration in unprecedented ways. We're going to reproduce the mission exponentially, both locally and globally. We'll help more people than ever find their way back to God. But it's going to take all of us, and it's going to take all of us being all in. First, we have to be all in with Jesus. I'll tell you what, if I was given one wish, just one wish for community, I would wish that every person would hear from God every day. If every person heard from God every day and then lived it out, we would be all in with Jesus. And for us to do anything significant with our lives, being all in with Jesus is foundational. Secondly, we need to be all in on mission. Last year, almost 3/4 of our small groups had a written mission statement and then were commissioned at a weekend celebration service. This year, we want to go from 75% to 100%. It's going to take you and your group working, praying, deciding what's our mission. And it'll be worth it because we want to see every group on mission. Lastly, we must be all in with our generosity. The Bible teaches your treasure is where your heart is. And for many, this is the biggest test in our spiritual journey. Will you pass it? We need to be all in with our generosity. I want you to know, I am all in. And here's what I'm asking everyone in the community. Will you join me and be all in?
At Community Edgewater, one of the things that's vital to who we are as a church are what we call the 3 relationships. We were all created to live an intimate relationship with God, and out of that, we were able to have authentic relationship with one another. And then out of that, we all are able to have a creative relationship with the world. That was God's dream and God's design, how He set it up at the very beginning. But we know that early on that dream crashed and shattered. But because of Jesus and because of His work that He did on the cross, those 3 relationships are now made available to us once again. So those relationships are now available to us, but the question is to us, what will we do with them? How will we respond? Will we just ignore them and keep on going? Or will we respond kind of half-heartedly and let it be kind of a hobby? Or will we respond with our whole lives and trust Jesus with everything we have and everything we are and be all in with Him?
Seeing all the things that we've been able to do at Edgewater, whether it's working with the people for Chalk the Block and seeing lives transformed through a very simple act, or whether it's helping people at the All-American Nursing Home, Edgewater Gardens, like all those different things, as much as I want my own stuff, that to not have those things in my life, to not be able to see what God is doing in the lives that He's changing, that all of that is worth far more than any of the stuff that I have. And my life would be just really empty in a lot of ways without having met and seen those people in those lives.
The influence that community has had in Edgewater, I just feel it breathing You see the community, you see the people walking around, you get to know them, you get to know people in your local coffee shop and your grocery store, and it's amazing.
You know, when I think of what it means to be all in for the Jesus mission, I can't help but think of a time when I was in college. You know, I had just gotten to college and I wanted to find a church home, and so did my roommates. So we began looking, and sometimes we would go to different churches, and I remember she went to this church, and when she got home, I asked her, you know, how was it? How was the experience? And she said, you know, sort of hesitantly, I mean, they really believe that stuff. They are like all in. And she meant it negatively. For me, it sort of inspired me. That ended up being the church I was at throughout all of college. And when I think about Community Edgewater, who we want to be, the kind of church we want to be in this neighborhood, I think we want to be a church that people say they are all in. You know, we're not halfway doing it. Church isn't just a hobby. I want people to say, wow, that church, they are all in. Community Edgewater is all in.